ABS, traction control, electronic suspension, cornering ABS, cruise control and many more. How important are the safety features and does it worth it spending more money on it? In this video, I plan to answer this question, so if you have nothing to do, grab your favorite drink and stay with me. Welcome back. I guess that most of you will expect me to tell you that it is way better to ride without all of these systems, but no, what I will do is just to list some facts, and the final decision and possible consequences after that will be only yours. Over the years, I learned that some people tend to follow any advice that they can find on internet or in a book, but the reality is that this strategy might be very useful but also detrimental. The idea of my channel has always been to show you a different perspective or opinion, to push you or even inspire you to use whatever gear you have and finally start traveling. I never even tried to teach you how or what motorcycle to ride, even though I've been asked many times. To know how to ride and to teach someone how to do it are two completely different things, and they shouldn't be mixed together. For that purpose, to teach you how to ride, we have qualified instructors. And as I said in the beginning, I will only list the facts, and the decisions and possible consequences after that will be only yours. So let's finally start. Number one, ABS. As you know, it is mandatory in Europe and in many countries around the world. It is a feature that it's good to have on every motorcycle, but of course, like any other systems, it has some downsides. Not always react properly, depends on the conditions, and it is terrible when you need to ride it off-road. But the problem could be easily fixed by just adding a single button to turn it off. And of course the manufacturers, they know that, and they already did it on many models. This feature could be priceless if you spend most of your time riding on the asphalt roads, especially in the cities, but for traveling I won't say that it's a must-have. As I said before, it is good to have it, but definitely not must-have. Remember, the ABS will definitely help you to shorten the stopping distance and prevent sliding in some not so correct tilting angles, but it cannot hold the motorcycle straight and cannot do any miracles. It is just there to help you not to ride your motorcycle or to prevent any mistake that you can make. My advice will be to learn how to ride without it. You can turn it off for a while, go to a big parking or empty street and make some practice. And after that, turn it on and always use the same braking techniques every time when you ride. This will help you much more than the ABS itself. Number two, traction control. Nowadays, most of the new models already included this option in their feature lists. And it raised the prices a little bit, but most of the people will say that it just pays itself. And I will agree that some of the new adventure motorcycles just got too much power, and to ride it without traction control will be very difficult, even dangerous for many people. In fact, if we take 100 people that got motorcycles with powerful engines with more than 100 horsepower and own these motorcycles from at least 3 years, which means that they already know how to ride them, and turn off the traction control without letting them know, I can bet that on the first week at least 20% of them will make an accident. They will do it not because they don't know how to ride, no, they know. But during these 3 years of owning of this motorcycle, they already gained a new habit how to ride the motorcycle with traction control. And this itself is very different from bike to bike and from the level of your traction control that you choose from your dashboard. As you know, or maybe you don't, but the traction control got different levels, different numbers, 1, 2, 9, whatever system you've got. The top level won't even let you twist the throttle properly, but if you choose the first, it will do almost nothing. It doesn't matter in what you believe. So you will ride almost like without any traction control. If you use the default settings of your traction control on ice, dirt roads or mud, it will be almost impossible to move at all. But of course, it will help you to prevent sliding. So you really need to learn how to use it. And during this process of learning, of gaining this new habit, you will completely ignore everything that you already know. With a few words, it makes you lazy. For sports bikes or very powerful engines, it will be a good option to have it, no doubts about it. But is it necessary? Is it must have for traveling? I don't think so. Number 3, cornering ABS. I like this Bulgarian sound. My opinion about this feature, it's more or less like a mix between the answers that I gave you in number 1 and number 2. It is a good option to have, I'm sure it is, but it will be like an exchange for your old riding skills. You will gain something new, but you will lose something old. And as you know, if you don't practice something, you just lose it. This is the way our brain works. It's a very powerful biological machine, and it always tries to save energy and time and protect you the way it's understood now. So if you don't practice your old skills, you will lose it, no doubts about it. The last sentence that I said was too philosophical, so let me explain to you what exactly I mean. When you ride a motorcycle with cornering ABS, everything that you have learned already to ride a motorcycle on the corners doesn't work. Because you have this system that assists you, that help you, that forgive you the mistakes, the possible mistakes that you can make, and you learn this new habit to ride on the corners without any fear. Because anytime when you make a mistake, the system will help you. And this, as I said, is an exchange for your old skills, for a new habit to trust and to believe on the system. And on long term, this could be detrimental. Number 4, electronic suspension. This is the feature that raises the prices the most, but I don't think that it helps the most in terms of handling. I've tried this system in many different brands and models. BMW GS 1250, BMW GS 850, Ducati Multistrada, Yamaha Tracer 9GT, and a few more. But I cannot confirm on 100% that I felt it. I cannot really feel the difference between normal and electronic suspension. Also, it was almost impossible for me to find a real difference between the different riding modes, the suspension modes that they've got on their dashboards. So you can change from one person to two people, comfort, on, off-road, rain. I played with all of these buttons and the difference was just tiny. If I didn't know what I pressed, I would probably never notice it. They say that the electronic suspension provides the best traction in any riding conditions, and this makes it the safest. But in my opinion, a good quality, properly set mechanical suspension will work way better. But who am I to talk? Is this something that you must have when you travel? I don't think so. It is just a good option if you have enough money to have something on your motorcycle that might help you in some situations, but it is definitely not must-have. Number 5 is the cruise control. This, in my opinion, cannot be really a safety feature, but I'm gonna tell you a few words anyway. I like this Tenere. It's a very good option. You can go on and off-road, but I won't buy it because it hasn't got cruise control. Believe it or not, but these words were said to me from a very good friend of mine, and he seriously meant it. And when I asked him why, he said, because when I travel on the highways, I prefer to have my cruise control so I can relax with my arms. And I tried to convince him that if you ride on the highways, you will find much better options than this Tenere, including your car. But again, who am I to talk? As I told you, I don't think that the cruise control could be considered as a safety feature, but I will go even deeper and will tell you that I think that it is even dangerous to have it. And I really don't know why no one talks about it. In my opinion, every time when you move your eyes from the road and go to your dashboard or the buttons to set your traction control, you already risk a lot. Yes, it might be just for the part of the second, but when you ride with 120 or 140 kilometers per hour, this part of the second could be 10 meters or could be very critical. And now you can tell me, yeah, I know where it is, I press it with your fingers, yeah, I know how the system works, I know that your eyes will go there without even wanting it. The second reason why the cruise control is dangerous, because by setting the speed, you're not controlling the bike anymore. The bike controls you. And here you may counter-argument and say, no problem, it's not a problem, you can press the brakes and it is off. But what about if you get distracted? If you don't know that you have to press the brakes and turn off the cruise control? Or even worse, if you fall asleep. And again, you can say, Pavel, who is going to fall asleep? Yeah, my friend Dima always fall asleep. I can see him in the mirrors going like that. And when I say, hey, he jumps and says, what? Oh, I fell asleep. It's just for a second or millisecond. But it happens. It happens even with me a few times. When you use the throttle manually, you always try to compensate, to give more or less, depends on the situation. But when you have your motorcycle set on the cruise control, it's completely different story. The bike controls you. And even on the places where a little bit less throttle will help you to go through, the cruise control could be critical and even dangerous. And my final conclusion, if your future plans are always to buy a brand new motorcycle with all of these interesting safety systems, then go for it. They will help you one way or another. But if you don't have this possibility, please stay away. This will save you a lot of money and future disappointments. Amen, brother. See you next time. Ciao.